everybody. Welcome to episode 38 of the Unwrapped Leader Podcast, where we get raw, real, and relevant in the new network marketing and helping you become a gifted leader in your business. My name is Dana from Canada.
And I'm Dracy from New Zealand.
Yes, you're just finishing up your New Zealand trip. When are you officially back?
Okay. Now, good question. Well, I'm still here technically for another 10 days, almost 2 weeks, till the 14th of March. So, but I'm actually at one location now. I'm at Brendan, my partner's parents, and he's going to do some family visits, and we're going to just hang out here. So I'm actually still back in work mode. So I did have technically the last 10 days kind of adventuring the South Island, having fun. So it's been really awesome. So, but I'm still in New Zealand, and it's gorgeous and it's great, and definitely a must put on your bucket list.
Awesome. Yeah. I've been seeing your photos and I've just been like dying to get somewhere in the sun because it's still freezing in Alberta and you're experiencing like freezing cold warnings. So good for you.
Well, it's funny you say, no, Teisha, it's funny you say that because technically to me, New Zealand's actually very cold because it's been between 13 degrees and 20 degrees. And that's really cold for us because we're having to still wear jackets and things like that. So for you, it would be warm, but definitely a lot cooler than being in Australia. And there's been so many beautiful places though that have felt like home here. Like it has actually been lovely to feel at home and be so close to Australia. So we'll definitely come back. The biggest highlight about down here, besides how raw and nature it is the food and wine. It's just divine. And the different restaurants and cafes, it's just next level. So we've really enjoyed that part of it for sure.
Nice. I'm a foodie and I love tasting wine. So I'm going to have to make my way there one day.
Definitely, Teisha, absolutely. And if I was to highlight anything about down here is that's what I love is people here are just so passionate about what they do. They're passionate about their food. They're passionate about their country. They're passionate. So, again, it comes down to the things that they highlight. And I think that's kind of influenced our topic, isn't it? On how to highlight your business.
I was just going to say that's a good leeway into today's episode because today we're talking how to highlight you and your business online. And we are specifically going to get into Instagram highlights, which can also be found on Facebook, although I do feel highlights are more so used on Instagram, but we can still do them on Facebook. So we are going to get a bit more into that, talk about how you can highlight your business and really show that online presence with what you're doing. So before we get into the topic, though, I do quickly just want to tell you guys, we've been talking about social media MVP round 3. Make sure you guys are on the wait list because mid-March, you will be receiving an email with information on the official start date and when we are going to get this program running, as we have many people who've been reaching out wanting to take it again. So we are really looking forward to this. We are going to put the wait list in the show notes here so you guys can click the link, get on the wait list, and March 15th, mark your calendar. You can expect an email. So super excited for that. And so back to our topic on highlighting you and your business. We speak about Instagram highlights, and for those of you who are on Instagram, you may know what that is. Maybe you know what it is and you don't have them and you're like, I don't know what to do with this area. Or maybe you have no what I'm talking about. So let me just give you guys a general overview very quickly. So Instagram highlights, these are a great way to organize your content and highlight the stories that you want to share with your followers. So they basically allow you to group like stories, like the things that you put on when you click your profile picture or you see other people putting on stories throughout the day. You can kind of group related ideas together, put them in one collection, and you can make them accessible to your followers from your profile page. Because usually a story it disappears within 24 hours. And that's why we talk about show up every single day. But a highlight allows you to have that for unlimited time, longer than 24 hours. And it's something that you feel that, your followers, your audience are really going to want to hear more about. And you're like, wow, this was a really good, thing I spoke on today. I really wish people could see it again. Well, that would be a reason to highlight that on your profile. It's a great way to make sure that just important information and stories, that are easy for your followers to find and view. Like, what are things people are asking you often, right? That's where you want to put that, is in that highlight section. So for those of you who need a visual here, let me just paint the picture. So your highlights You can find them on Facebook and on Instagram. Like I said, they are more viewed on Instagram, but it's going to be right below that bio section. So you could see your bio. That's where we talk. We actually, have we made a video yet, Dracy, on like creating a bio? If we haven't, we definitely have to do that. But
well, I know we've done it. It's in our social media MVP program.
It's in the it's in the program, but that's true. But anyway,
you know, why not? Let's. But there's no reason why we can't do like a 3 minutes on how to do a bio, to our audience, just to get them started. Because if we want to get them started in something, this is a great start.
Yeah.
And it's why I love doing highlights so much, because when I go looking at other people, their bio is like, oh, I like that. And then I want to know more about them. And that's where I go, is to their highlights. So, so I think it is important. So maybe we can do that.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, the highlights, it's right under your Instagram bio. And some people like to add some personality to it, make some fun covers, put titles on it that stand out to people. And that's part of your first impression, really. So I'm actually gonna throw it over you to Dracy, just to talk a little bit more about highlighting your business and increasing that online presence with those highlights.
Oh, for sure. And again, I think this is where I talk about game changers, for me, and just and when I understood the social media and how it can work for you. Because again, for those of you that know me or are new to me, my big thing is I just used to use my social media for showcasing and sharing my lifestyle. And, so I did more about a lot about, just posting, just having play, just play and post and stuff like that. And as I became more conscious of this, then you learn to post and just kind of pray, oh my God, is this anything going to happen? But it's when you start posting with purpose. And so I just really feel highlights give you that place, because when you highlight your best assets, you're going to attract an audience on social media. And so the key is to focus on those unique qualities that make you stand out. Use content that showcases your individual talents, your passions, your achievements. And this is where you post pictures and videos that show your personality in such a positive light, and share stories that will engage your audience and provide them with value. So finally, what really makes sure that your followers want to follow you and help build relationships is by showing them that you care about them. And so all these strategies can help you highlight your best assets and create an engaged, help you create and engage with your passion to your audience through this social media. And so this is what I think why we do our brand pillars. It really helps with highlighting your assets and your passions, and being able to demonstrate that through your highlights. So I think that is really important. And again, the real importance of this is showcasing your best content as well to your followers. So I think that brings it all together. And let's face it, in business to get together today, excuse me, is about us becoming creators. And more of us are being content creators online. And that is the switch over. When you can see that you're trying to create something amazing and you want to give value to your people, it becomes so rewarding what we were doing. And I know it can be really intimidated when you get started, just knowing the right knowledge or the resources, or just anyone just wanting to be successful in this, just, finding ways to have tips to get yourself started. So I think the big thing is, we all hear the thing, you got to find your niche. Choose a niche. We talk about, different topics. We talk about building your brand. We talk about this creating content, and how to promote your content and build relationships. But I think it comes down to getting organized on what that looks like. And when you can get organized on what that looks like, it's going to allow you to shine more, because it eliminates the stress. And so that's probably what my big thing is. If you just walk away from what we're going to share today, she's going to give you some tips. I just want you to walk away with that word highlight. How can I highlight my best assets? How can I highlight the assets of this business? And what can I do to get someone started on the journey with me? And that's what Teisha is going to show you, these steps. So that's the big one. And I'm going to share why this is so powerful and important to me, is because now that I'm learning about it, and I'm going to share this with you, if you're not already doing it, why it's so important to go and follow some people that you admire, that have the same collective values as you, and just even by hashtagging them and following them. But what I do that is, as I shared at the beginning, is I read a little bit about their bio, and what I'm looking for is, who do they serve and how do they help them? And then I think, okay, that resonates with me. And then the first thing I do is I go through their highlights, and the highlights about keeping, is that story of a bit about who they are and how they serve in that sense. So, again, it's a journey. I'm still working on mine. Mine are still being tweaked, and my objective is getting people from my personal brand into finding out about the Unwrapped Leader. So I kind of take them on that journey. But then how they get to know me is based on the things that I value. I value personal growth, and I value being brave and confident, and I value what the lessons I can give my kids, and I value what this industry can do for us. And so that is what I try to shine as my highlights on my personal brand. And then as you see, it expands into the Unwrapped Leader. So I guess without further ado, Teisha, do you want to take them on a little bit of the journey on maybe some quick steps they can do to start getting their highlights working for them?
Yeah, absolutely. I want to walk you guys through just a few. I think as business owners in the network marketing industry, could be a great asset just to that highlight section. You might, if you have created highlights before, I would suggest, if you've just been kind of putting them like here. Actually, here's an example. So I was out for dinner with my mom the other day, and she's like, I want to make highlight you, like yours looks so good, and I want that on my profile. So I was like, okay, let's do this. So I was looking through hers, and she just had like, if you just from your story, there's like a little button on the bottom that says like add to highlight. And if you click that, then it just adds it to a highlight. It won't have a name unless you go edit it and stuff. So my mom had like all these things in her bio that just had highlight. And it was just a million highlights with one picture in each one. And I'm like, no, this is unorganized. Like, we got to organize this crap. So we went and deleted all them, and we basically started fresh. You do need something like you can't just create the highlights and then put photo after. You have to have some photo or thing from your story to put in it right away. So keep that in mind. You could have like an introductory story to put in there. But one thing I want to quickly touch on is like people ask sometimes, like, what are the differences? Like, what goes in highlights and what goes on your feed? Like, we're sharing valuable information on both, but what kind of be on which one? Or can they be the same? Can they not be the same? And so like my answer for this is simply on your feed, those posts are what your audience is already seeing, right? Like that's people in your audience seeing that. If you obviously that could expand to more people. And that's where you want to put valuable content, things that are doing more ease, which is educating, engaging, empowering, or what is the last E?
Entertaining.
Thank you. Entertaining. So you want to be putting out content that's valuable using one of the 4 E's. I knew freaking freeze up on one too. I was like, I talked about this yesterday, but I just have, it's not, I guess that last one's not embedded yet.
And that's why it's so great collaborating, doing this together, because we get each other's back.
I know if I was doing this podcast alone, I'd be like, okay, guys, see me next week for the last E. Cause I don't know what it is right now. And this is just coming from my head, but you're putting valuable content on there. But when it comes to your highlight section, as Dracy said, like it's things that you value, but it's also valuable content that other people will see. So it's your values shining through in valuable content that you're showing. It's more of a snapshot. It's more of a this is what you can expect if you follow me, but more in depth. Right. So talk about how, like you talk about in your bio, who you help and how you help them. And if they like that, if that speaks to them, they're going to move on to your highlights because that's what comes next. So give them a snapshot of how you're doing that. Give them a bit more of your personality, right? Their personality in your stories, but in your highlights, that's kind of the area where they really do see how you operate and the type of person you are. And if you're someone that they resonate with, but then in your feed, that's where you already have your audience that has followed you, and they're going to be seeing those feed posts more than, random people. It's going to be more so your audience. And those are the posts where you're going in more depth about that. You're really teaching them something. Like you're not going to do a entire concept, like one end to the other in your stories. Like give them a snapshot, let it create some curiosity. I always say to less is more, because you want to create that curiosity. You want people to be craving more so that, they will follow you. You're going to grow your audience in that way. And you're going to put out valuable content that they're going to love and they're going to interact with and engage and share and so on. So I guess hopefully that kind of like answers that question. It's valuable content in both, more of like a snapshot of this is who I am. Would you add anything to that, Dracy?
Well, I just think now go to this, tell them what some of those highlights should be. And then I think it'll start making more sense.
Sure. Okay, sure. I'll get into that. So when it comes to your highlight sections, these are a few things I have learned, and I also put some of my own there, and just taking different concepts and ideas from people that are in the network marketing industry that has really helped me thrive online. And mine have changed, and your like everything, your bio, your highlights, your brand, like that stuff is going to continue to evolve. So my highlights specifically, they might not reflect these exact words and I guess concepts, but everything is pretty much like that I talk about is in there in one way or another. So this is just a snapshot, but I want you guys to, do it how you feel best represents you and your values. So the first section I really love to see when I go on someone's profile, I have this, Dracy has this, and the Unwrapped Leader has this. And it is a start here highlight section. This is where people are going to see it, and that's where they're going to click first. Start here. And this is where it's pretty much a snapshot of of what you put in bio, of who you help and how you help them, but it's also what they can expect of you. Like, what do you do? Do you podcast? Are you a network marketer? Do you have certain hobbies? Like, are you a mom? Like, those are the things that you could talk about in there. And it should tell your audience who you are, what you do, and how you can help them. So answer those questions on a paper: who you are, what you do, and how you can help them, and how they're going to be served if they decide to follow you and become an audience member of yours. So that start here section is so essential because, again, it just kind of gives people that impression of you. And you can put, like, you could put slides. So I know on the Unwrapped Leader, Dracy and I have kind of like a snapshot of Dracy, a snapshot of me, a bit of our credentials, and then we talk a little bit about the Unwrapped Leader, what that means to us. But you could also do like a talking story where you go on your story and you talk about yourself too. I find definitely personable. People relate to that. And you could also put videos like that are on your story in this start here section. So that would be section number 1 that I highly recommend. Another section I would definitely suggest putting on there is something along the lines, pick one word, whatever one reaches out to you, but I have written as testimonials, reviews, or results. And that's going to be something to do with like the social proof of your product or service that you have to offer. So this is a section that's showcasing testimonials from customers and even testimonials of yourself. If it's a product or a service and you're using it, like, it's really good to show your personal on here, but maybe you're new and maybe you don't have those yet, and that's okay. Grab testimonials from customers, grab testimonials from teammates. This is social proof. And it goes back to what we like to say, that facts tell and stories sell, right? We can give features and benefits of a product or service, but unless real people are getting real results, it doesn't really sell people on it. So having that section to talk about how your service or product has impacted someone, how it's made a difference, is really important, and just how it's improved your lifestyle overall. So that would be the second section I recommend putting in there. Another one is a hobby of yours. So I always find to put a little bit of something that you do outside of your business, something that is just you're passionate about or that really aligns with your values. And you just want to show people that you pretty much have an outside life too, right? We are all human beings. We are not just a walk man, and we only have one, mission to find customers. Like, we are so much more than entrepreneurs. We're so much more than just, whatever you consider yourself as. Like, when someone asks you, who are you? Like, you're so much more than a mom. You're so much more than an entrepreneur. You're so much more than a network marketer. You have so much to offer, and people, that extra spice, I like to call it. Like,
you mean a sushi expert?
A sushi expert. I don't have a sushi highlight anymore. I did used to have one, but honestly, I realized that this is when I realized, just for a little tip for you guys too, I'm happy you brought that up. When you realize maybe I don't need a highlight for it. And it's when you find you're posting it like multiple times a week. Because I find that if people are seeing that every day or multiple times a week, it's like, they're just going to keep seeing it. I don't need to make a highlight. People are going to know if they're following me that I love sushi, because I'm making it, or I'm going to eat it every single week. So I was like, okay, we don't need a highlight because we are just.
But it was a good starting point for you, Teisha.
It was a great starting point. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And then you realize, this is something people like, when you really feel like people know this, like, people just know this. Like, I don't have to have a highlight on the fact that I like pink. You all know that I like pink. You're going to see that throughout my feed, right? That's not really a hobby.
But again, it comes down to the people who are coming to see you for the first time And that really is who checks out your highlights.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
people who want to see if they can get to know you a little bit more. So again,
exactly. Yeah. And a hobby, I say hobby, but it could even be like, if you want to showcase a little bit of your life, right? Like it could just be something more personal, kind of outside your business, showing like, hey, I'm a human being. I'm not just a walking storefront or a walking whatever. Like you are so much more than that. So that's what that section is essentially for. The next one is you could have, whether it's like a sale, a special or current you have going on, just to show people basically what you have going on right now for you. How can you serve them right now? What is happening that's, special this month? So this could be maybe an enrollment offer going on if you're in network marketing. It could be a product or service you have happening. If there's holidays coming up, holiday special. A lot of this I do know in the network marketing industry, depending on what company you're in, you might have to just be careful, because I know there's rules around like if you could do your own promotions or not. Like I've seen a handful and a mix. Like some companies you can't, you have to do it, you can. So just be careful, always follow just like policies and all that kind of stuff. But something about just current events you have going on. It could even be something personal that does relate back to your business. Like maybe you have like an opportunity event that you and your team are running, to talk more about your business, or maybe you have a fun little going on for a product or service that you offer. It's just a fun way. So when people come on your profile, if you don't currently have it in your stories, or if you're not talking about it often, then people could come and see like, oh, that's what she has going on this month, right? It's almost like a calendar of events.
Yeah. And I think just to hone in on some captured words is either what's happening or what's on. I think those are good titles. That gives them a really good starting point. And that would tell people, oh yeah, what's going on. I think that's a good one.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. And then the last one I want to share with you guys is a section that kind of shows results, success, or achievement. So essentially this should reflect all, and this, okay, don't mix this up with testimonials, reviews, and results. I know I use the word results twice on there, so that might be a little confusing, but testimonials and reviews are more like, I guess, like testimonials from customers, yourself, on how a product or service or opportunity has changed your life, or more product service focus, I would say. But this one that I talk about in terms of results, success, achievements, this is where you want to reflect all of you, and especially if you are someone in leadership or go. This is where you really want people to know that you have an opportunity to offer. And one thing I like, just working with people over the last few months with the social media MVP program, the one comment I feel like I made often for people who said they struggled with recruiting or sponsoring or building their team, I would go do their brand audit, notice, I don't even know that you're actively looking to grow your team. Like, where does it say that on here? And I don't see that anywhere. And it's just, you know what, like if you want to build something or you want to grow something, I need to know that you're trying to grow. So this is a section where you're reflecting all of yours and your team's accomplishments in business. If you don't right now, that's okay. Show your own and show people why you love what you do. And remember that no win is too small. It's actually the small wins that are going to be very relatable to people. So some examples I have here are, of course, if you've earned an incentive trip, you got to post that stuff in there. Put it in the highlight section, the incentive trips that you've earned. And that's speak to a handful of people for sure. And then even like sales and recruiting awards, like have you earned anything from your conferences coming up or past conferences, like maybe you got plaques or something, like show that kind of stuff on here. But now let's talk about some smaller scale wins that are really going to relate to people. And this could be simply, what have you income for? Did you get paid last week? And I don't care if it was $50 or $100, like $50 is filling up a gas tank. $100 is buying groceries for the next 2 weeks. Like those are the things that people are going to relate to. And that's what you want to put in that kind of achievement section that showcases your win. And like I said, if your teammate sends you even say a message and they're like, oh my gosh, I just got my first paycheck or whatever, like got my paycheck this week and I just used it to do X, Y, and Z. Ask them if you could screenshot it. You could take their name out. And that's something that section, that is social proof that what you're doing is helping people, is impacting people. And so those are the 5 Instagram sections I wanted to share with you guys. And if there's any others that you feel should be on an Instagram or a Facebook profile under highlight, something that you want to highlight, like, please in the comments with us. I know that there's so many different things you could do that could really help just highlight your business and yourself on social media. But those are the ones that really stand out to me. But I would love to hear you guys' thoughts. So put those in the comments as well.
Excellent. Great ideas, great tips. And again, this is what's so amazing about it, is it's where it becomes the unique you. You know, we help people with their brand pillars. They may highlight one of the highlights on their brand pillars in that sense. And I just think it's just so much fun. And this is what it is go and watch other people and see what you like of theirs. And then that's where you get to embody that and practice and learn and grow as we go. So again, it takes time. And that's why I think, again, we come down to you and I put our social media MVP program together, because it's a journey, because there's so many moving parts, and highlights is just one part of that puzzle. And you need to learn how to do this, you know, the stories to make that happen. You want to know why and who you're serving to collectively put it together, and knowing what's your feeds and posts you're putting in. So it takes time, and I know it feels overwhelming. So again, just make a decision to take a step, and just know that step is about highlighting you, what you have to offer, and the difference that you can make, because the bottom line is we're all here together collectively to make an impact. And if you're here to make an impact, we want to help you in making that happen by just creating a community about making an impact, and how we can impress and how we can attract and highlight the great things about this business. So please, again, get on our wait list. I guess as well as we got our fantastic group called the Gifted Leaders, where every week right now we're doing our 12 chapters out of our Unwrapped Leader book. And again, those are the actionable steps that you can use to grow a business, so you can show up and be the gifted leader that you are meant to be. Otherwise, I hope you like this. Please make a comment, as well as if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe, and look forward to sharing so much more about what we're doing and how we can serve you.
Thank you, guys. See you next week. Bye.